Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Inkwell Stories. Today's episode feels very personal to me. We're talking about 1 week at a time, your 2026 English speaking plan. And honestly, this is for anyone who has been learning English for years, but still feels silent when it matters.
Hi, everyone. Yes, that's silence. I know it very well. You understand English, you read, you listen, but when it's time to speak, your mind just freezes. Today, we want to show you that speaking English is not about talent or confidence. It's about small steps taken week by week.
Exactly! We'll walk through a real 24-week plan together, but gently, no pressure, no study 8 hours a day nonsense, just realistic habits that fit into adult life, with work, stress, and tired evenings.
And we'll talk honestly about fear, embarrassment, and that voice in your head saying, I'm not ready yet. Because if you're waiting to feel ready, you might wait forever.
So, if this episode helps you even a little, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, we've prepared a PDF with the full conversation so you can read it again slowly and practice.
All right, let's start at the very beginning, the hardest part.
Let's talk about weeks 1 to 4. I call this phase breaking the silence. Not grammar, not fluency, just silence. Because for many adults, the biggest problem is not lack of knowledge. It's that they haven't used their voice in English for years.
I completely relate to that. I remember understanding everything in meetings, but never speaking. And after a while, silence becomes a habit. Your brain learns, I don't speak English, even if that's not true.
Exactly. So in the first 4 weeks, the goal is very simple. Make English sounds every single day. Not perfect sentences, just sounds, words, short phrases. 5 to 15 minutes is enough.
Some people think, if I can't speak well, I shouldn't speak at all. That's a very dangerous idea. In these weeks, we actually want imperfect English. Mistakes mean progress.
Yes, and here's a useful expression for this phase. Show up. It means you appear and try, even if you don't feel ready. So your only job in weeks 1 through 4 is to show up daily.
So what does that look like in real life? Let's be concrete. Week 1 is about reading out loud. You take very short texts, 5 sentences. You read them slowly, clearly, and you hear your own voice.
And hearing your voice is important. Many learners feel uncomfortable because English sounds strange in their mouth. That discomfort disappears only if you repeat it.
In week 2, we add something small, repeating after audio. This is called shadowing, but we don't need fancy names. You listen to one sentence, pause, repeat, or play and repeat together.
And here's another expression. Take it slow. That means you don't rush. Speed is not the goal. Comfort is. If you speak slowly but calmly, you're doing it right.
I like that you said calmly, because many learners speak fast when they're nervous, and then they feel worse. Slow English is strong English.
Week 3 is where something emotional happens. We introduce short self-talk. You talk to yourself in English. Simple things like, today was busy, or I'm tired but okay.
That sounds small, but it's powerful, because English becomes part of your inner world, not just a school subject.
Exactly. And here's a phrase we often use, talk to yourself. Some people think it's strange, but it's actually one of the safest ways to practice speaking.
By week 4, we gently push one step further. You record your voice, not for social media, not for anyone else, just for you.
And this is where fear shows up. People say, I hate my voice, or I sound stupid. But here's another useful expression. Be kind to yourself. It means you don't judge yourself harshly.
When you listen to your recording, you're not looking for mistakes. You're listening for clarity. Can you understand yourself? If yes, you're winning.
I remember my first recordings. I couldn't finish a sentence without stopping. But after a week, something changed. My voice felt familiar.
That's such an important word. Familiar. Confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from familiarity.
And let's be honest, in these 4 weeks, you will still feel shy. That's normal. The goal is not to feel confident yet. The goal is to feel less scared than before.
That reminds me of another everyday expression. One step at a time. You don't jump from silence to full conversations. You walk there slowly.
So if someone listening right now feels disappointed, thinking, that's all, I want to say this clearly. If you break the silence, everything else becomes possible.
And if you skip this phase, the later phases become painful. Speaking with confidence is built on comfort, not pressure.
What about you? Do you think adults underestimate how emotional this first phase is?
Absolutely. People think learning English is technical, but this phase is emotional training. You're teaching your brain that English is safe.
And safety creates consistency. Consistency creates progress.
Exactly. If you can do weeks 1 through 4, honestly, even imperfectly, you're already on the path to real conversations.
And that path starts with your voice. Quiet, slow, imperfect, but finally present.
So now we move into weeks 5 to 12, and this is where many learners feel something new. It's not full confidence yet, but it's a kind of calm. You're no longer fighting silence every day.
Yes, this phase is about simple confidence, not sounding native, not speaking fast, just speaking without panic. And that's a huge change for adults.
I remember around week 6, I stopped translating every sentence in my head. Not always, but sometimes. And those sometimes moments felt like magic.
That's such a good point. In this phase, we train your brain to respond, not prepare forever. One useful expression here is good enough. It means your sentence doesn't need to be perfect to be useful.
So practically, what changes in week 5? The biggest change is interaction. You still practice alone, but now you answer questions. Simple questions like, how was your day? Or what did you do today?
And you answer out loud in full sentences. Even if it's basic, my day was busy, I worked, and I'm tired. That's real communication.
In week 6, we add structure, but gently. You choose one daily topic for the whole week. For example, work, family, food, or daily routines.
This helps because your vocabulary repeats naturally. Repetition builds confidence. You stop searching for words because you've used them all week.
Here's another everyday expression we introduce naturally. I'm not sure, but this is powerful because it gives you permission to speak even when you're unsure.
Yes! Instead of staying silent, you say, I'm not sure, but I think. That one phrase opens the door to speaking.
Weeks 7 and 8 are about short conversations, not long ones, 2 to 3 minutes. You can use language exchange apps, AI conversations, or even imaginary dialogues.
And this is important. You prepare less. Many learners over-prepare and then freeze when the conversation changes.
So we practice flexibility. You learn another useful phrase, let me think. It buys you time and sounds natural.
Adults love this phrase because it removes pressure. Silence feels scary, but a thinking pause feels normal.
By week 9, something interesting happens. You start noticing patterns. You reuse sentences. You feel your mouth moving more easily.
That's when we encourage light daily listening with speaking. You listen to a short podcast or video, then summarize it out loud in 3 sentences.
Not writing, speaking. And if you forget words, that's okay. You explain around them.
Which brings us to another expression. It's like. This helps you describe things when you don't know the exact word.
Weeks 10 to 12 are about consistency under real-life pressure. Speaking when you're tired, speaking after work, speaking even when motivation is low.
Because real confidence is not about good days, it's about average days.
I remember one evening in this phase. I was exhausted. I almost skipped practice, but I spoke for 5 minutes anyway. Badly. And strangely, that day helped me more than the perfect days.
That's such an important lesson. Progress comes from showing up, not from feeling inspired.
This phase is where learners start trusting themselves. They think, I can say something. Maybe not everything, but something.
And that belief changes everything. You're no longer waiting for permission to speak.
But we should be honest. Fear doesn't disappear completely. It just becomes quieter.
Yes, and when fear appears, we don't fight it. We acknowledge it and speak anyway.
What about mistakes? People always ask that.
Mistakes are still there, but now they don't stop you. You correct yourself or move on. That's real communication.
By the end of week 12, you're not fluent, but you are active, and active learners always improve.
And most importantly, English starts to feel like a tool, not a test.
That shift prepares you for the final phase. Real conversations, real reactions, real you.
Weeks 13 to 24 feel very different emotionally. This is the phase where English starts to feel less like practice and more like life. You're still learning, of course, but the focus changes.
Yes, now it's about natural conversations. Not perfect conversations, natural ones. Pauses, mistakes, emotions, and real reactions are all part of it.
Many learners are surprised here. They think confidence should feel loud or strong, but instead it feels quiet. You just speak.
I remember the first time I didn't think about my English during a conversation. Afterward, I thought, wait, did I just talk for 10 minutes?
That moment is huge, and it doesn't come from studying harder. It comes from using English in meaningful situations.
So what changes in week 13? We reduce drills and increase real input. You still practice daily, but now you speak with content, not exercises.
You watch a short video or read a short article about something you care about. Then you react to it out loud. Not summarize like a student, react like a person.
I agree with this. Or, I don't like this idea. Or, this reminds me of my own life. That's real language.
And here's a very useful expression for this phase. In my opinion, it helps you share thoughts without sounding too strong or too weak.
Weeks 14 to 16 are about longer conversations, 5 to 10 minutes. You choose 1 or 2 conversation partners and stay consistent.
Consistency matters more than variety here. When you talk to the same people, you relax faster. You know their style, they know yours.
This phase can feel uncomfortable again. Not because of fear, but because expectations rise. You start wanting to sound better.
Yes, and that's dangerous. When expectations rise too fast, joy disappears. So we introduce another phrase. It's okay to pause.
Pausing is not failing. Pausing is thinking. Native speakers pause all the time.
In weeks 17 and 18, we focus on storytelling, simple stories from your life. What happened last weekend, a problem at work, a funny moment.
Storytelling connects language naturally. You use past tense, feelings, reasons, and results without forcing grammar.
And when you forget a word, you don't stop. You explain it another way. That skill is called flexibility, and it's more important than vocabulary size.
I remember forgetting the word appointment once. I said, the meeting with the doctor, and the conversation continued. That's success.
Exactly. Communication is about being understood, not being perfect.
Weeks 19 to 21 are about emotional conversations, not deep therapy, but real feelings, stress, happiness, frustration, excitement.
Because language lives in emotions. When you talk about feelings, words stick better.
Another useful expression here is I feel like. It's gentle and natural, and it helps you share emotions without pressure.
By this point, English starts to mix with your personality. Your humor appears, your opinions become clearer.
And people start responding to you, not your English.
Weeks 22 to 24 are about independence. You choose topics, you choose partners. You decide how English fits into your life.
That's the final goal. Not finishing a course, but living with English.
Some days you'll speak a lot, some days a little, but silence will no longer control you.
And when you look back, you won't remember the grammar rules. You'll remember the moments you spoke even when you were scared.
Those moments build a new identity, someone who speaks English.
Not perfectly, But honestly, and that's enough. When we reach the final part of this journey, something interesting happens. People stop asking, "How do I study English?" and start asking, "How do I keep English in my life?" That question means everything has changed.
Yes, by now, English is no longer a project with an end date. It's a habit, a tool, sometimes even a companion, and that's a big emotional shift for adults.
I remember feeling proud, but also a little scared. I thought, what if I lose this? Many learners feel that.
That fear is normal, but here's an important truth. Once speaking becomes part of you, it doesn't disappear easily. It just needs care.
So let's talk about how to live with English after 24 weeks. The first thing is letting go of pressure. You don't need to improve every day anymore.
Exactly. Improvement now comes naturally, through use, through curiosity, through connection.
One helpful expression here is stay curious. It means you keep interest alive without forcing yourself.
For example, you follow content you actually enjoy. Podcasts, videos, books, or social media in English. Not because you should, but because you want to.
And you speak when it matters, at work, with friends, online. You don't wait for perfect moments.
Another expression we love is, "I'll give it a try." It's simple but powerful. It keeps you open.
Emotionally, this phase is about trust. You trust that your English is enough for real life.
And when you don't understand something, you don't panic. You ask, or you let it go.
That's a big sign of confidence. Not understanding everything and being okay with it.
Many learners also notice something else. Their listening improves without effort, because speaking trained their brain.
Yes, speaking and listening grow together. Silence blocks both. Voice opens both.
At this point, mistakes feel different. They're not personal anymore. They're just part of communication.
I once said something strange in a conversation and we laughed. Not at me, with me. That's when I knew English was mine.
That shared laughter is a beautiful moment. It means connection happened.
So if someone listening feels far from that place, I want to say this clearly. It's not about intelligence. It's about patience.
And kindness toward yourself. That might be the most important strategy of all.
Let's be honest. Life gets busy. Some weeks you'll speak less. That's okay.
The difference now is that silence is a choice, not a prison.
And when you return to English, it welcomes you back.
I love that image. English as a place you can enter anytime.
Before we end, I want to ask you something. If you could speak to your past self, the one who was afraid to speak, what would you say?
I would say you don't need to be ready. You just need to start. What about you?
I'd say your voice matters more than your mistakes.
And to everyone listening, 1 week at a time is enough. One voice, one try, one sentence.
2026 can be the year English becomes part of who you are.
Not because you studied harder, but because you finally spoke.